So one of the biggest questions I get asked on this channel is, how do I make it as a logo designer? And is the logo design industry too saturated? So in today's video, I'm actually going to show you some tips on how to make it as a logo designer. And we're going to explore if this industry is in fact too saturated. As some of you probably know, I've been designing logos for 15 years now, and I've seen the industry change in many different ways during this somewhat short period of time. But is the logo design industry too saturated? Follow along with me today and we're going to answer that very question, and I'm also going to show you how to make it as a logo designer heading into 2020. If you simply Google search logo design, you're going to find a whole host of logo design maker websites. You know those things, the programs that spew out crummy and unoriginal designs day in, day out. And that's the whole problem with these things. A logo maker lacks originality and they really churn out unprofessional logo designs. On top of that, because so many people use them, the exact same or very similar logo design might be churned out by the logo maker itself. Now, before technology exploded, it was only a small portion of people who had access to the professional tools of graphic design. And this is simply because software and hardware was so expensive back then. This in large meant that only the professionals were putting out work into the industry, and thus there were not many graphic designers around at that time. So now that technology is easily accessible to pretty much anybody, it does mean that anybody can claim to be a logo designer. All you really need is a Wi-Fi connection and a really basic knowledge of image editing software or, drawing programs. There are many free programs out there like GIMP and Canva, for example. However, it still and always will require a professional to understand color theory, to have an eye for balance within a logo, to pair fonts in harmony, and so on. So the people with the knowledge and the skills are always going to charge more for their time, and the reflection of their work is their portfolio. Now there are tiers, from the teenager designing a logo on Canva or GIMP, up to branding agencies spending several weeks on a single logo design. So there is a spectrum, and you can find a place for yourself anywhere within the spectrum depending on your skills and your experience. So now that we've established the logo design industry isn't actually that saturated, how can you get yourself a steady stream of clients as a logo designer? I'm going to show you some tips on how to get that steady flow of clients as a logo designer wherever you fall into the spectrum. Now it just goes without saying that you need to have good logo designs to get more clients, so you need the skills. And also, of course, you do need a graphic design portfolio of your logo work. And I've actually spoken about that many times on this channel. So today, I'm not going to go into, the importance of a portfolio, because it just should go without saying. One hugely powerful tool that many designers just forget about is a blog. So like with anything else, it does take time to build up a blog, but once it gets going, it's really fruitful to you as a logo designer. Talking in length about design topics such as logo design, color theory, shape psychology, and so on, you come across as a kind of professional who knows exactly what they're talking about. And this instills confidence in a potential client who's reading your blog. So on the blog, you really want to showcase your best work as you would with a logo design portfolio, for example. You will need to promote your blog by posting on social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and just market yourself really effectively on social media. So when you do show your work and you're not just talking about graphic design topics, do make sure your work is the best that you can actually produce, that you want to send out there onto the internet. It might only require that you spend 3 to 4 hours per week on a single blog post, and this is going to be enough to get the ball rolling at the start of your blog's creation. But yeah, like I said, a blog isn't going to have success overnight. And so it's something you need to keep building up. And when you do get some traction, a blog can be very lucrative to a designer, and also just, gaining that presence online that you do want to strive to have. So yeah, a blog is very powerful to utilize as a logo designer. But another tip is to start networking as early on as you possibly can in your career. So that probably means that you should be doing it right now. Networking isn't using social media to advertise yourself. Networking refers to making real-life connections and friendships with fellow creatives. But how can this be helpful to you as a graphic designer? Well, for example, if you end up connecting with somebody who strictly works on coding for websites and apps, sometime in the future they might need a graphic designer to work on a logo or some graphics for a website. Establishing these networking connections early on can really help you later on down the road. And also you might need something doing, in the future that you don't have skills for. So if you don't know how to code a website, one of your network connections might be able to help you there, and for a lower rate than normal. Now, it should go without saying that you need to know the basics of graphic design, but many do forget that. They seem to want to just jump in the deep end and bypass the fundamentals of graphic design. Now, these include the graphic design principles such as contrast, hierarchy, balance, and so on. 2 books I do recommend is firstly Know Your Onions, and secondly Graphic Design, a User's Manual. Now, you really can't become a successful and a competent graphic or logo designer without understanding and utilizing the basics. So you should familiarize yourself and master these basics as early on as possible in your career. Also, of course, you need to know how to use the tools of the trade, and this is a learning process and it does take time as well as patience for every single designer out there. Nobody's born with the innate ability to use Adobe Illustrator or any software for that matter. It's something that's needed to be learned. And once you have learnt how to use these programs in confidence, you can express and formulate your ideas visually that much easier than if you're having trouble with the pen tool or whatever. Now, another good tip is to ask your peers for feedback on your designs. Ask somebody who isn't going to tell you white lies just to make you feel good. You need solid and blunt critique so you can see the flaws and the areas that you need to improve on. And like with most things in life, it just becomes more and more natural and second nature as you progress and as you use the programs more and more and more. Practice does make perfect. We all need to practice and improve, and it's sometimes difficult to see our faults and also the areas that we need to improve on. So it's always nice to have some people there to guide us and just point out, that's not good, that's not working out, that doesn't look good, and so on. Being a freelance or in-house designer does require knowledge of business. More so if you are a freelancer because you're making all of the decisions on your own. So in the description of today's video, I've linked some older videos where I go into the business side of graphic design because that is really, really important to success as well. So there are some tips on how to make it as a logo designer. And like I said, if you do want to check out the business side of things, I've got some videos linked down below just about that very topic. And also we did explore if logo design is too saturated, because I do get some comments from time to time saying there's no point studying or trying to become a logo designer in 2020 because it's just too saturated. And I personally do tend to disagree with that from the points in today's video, but let me know, what do you think? Do you think logo design is too saturated? Or maybe you even think graphic design in general is too saturated? I do have a video on one of my logo design projects from start to finish, and that's going to be coming very, very soon. Also, do let me know what you want to see on this channel down in the comment section below, because I'm always eager to read your comments and see your opinions and your suggestions. If you do want to help out my channel, share my content on social media, and of course give this video a thumbs up. But until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.